Xamarin.Forms has some really useful APIs, but it doesn't expose everything from the platform. In fact, it is very likely there will be some feature you need to use which is not available to your shared code. For these cases, we have to put a little architecture thought into our application. We will want to use the APIs available in the platform-specific project, but somehow invoke them from our shared code. For example, consider dialing the phone. All three platforms have support for this feature, but each one accomplishes it slightly differently, and to fully control it, we would want to write that code uniquely per platform. Let's take a look at what Xamarin.Forms has to offer for situations such as this. First, you'll want to create some form of abstraction. That might be an interface or a base class, but something to represent the feature you want to use in your shared code. Best practice dictates that we build an abstraction implemented by the target platform which defines the platform-specific functionality. Here you can see that we will define an iDialer interface which will describe how our code will dial the phone on each platform. Then, in each of the platform-specific projects, we will implement that interface using the platform-specific APIs available to us in those projects. Our shared code will always use the interface, which means it is not directly tied to the implementation or platform-specific code. Platform projects implement the shared dialer interface using the platform-specific APIs to locate the implementation. We can use a variety of techniques to do this. Often, it is either a variation of the service locator design pattern or the dependency injection design pattern. It really doesn't matter how you bind to the implementation. The key thing is the separation being used here. Xamarin.Forms includes a service locator called Dependency Service, which can be used to register platform-specific implementations and then locate them through the abstraction in your shared code. When creating your own abstractions, you can roll your own locator object or provide a singleton property that your platform-specific code assigns. Alternatively, Xamarin.Forms has two built-in mechanisms. The first is a generalized messaging service called Messaging Center that acts as a publish or subscribe event system. You can send the message from anywhere in your code and have some handler to receive the message and then process it in a platform-specific way. This is exactly what Page does when creating alerts and action sheets. The second way is to use the Dependency Service API. This is specifically designed to locate and bind interfaces or abstract classes to implementations. The first step is to define our abstraction, the iDialer interface in this case. Again, this must be in our shared code since all parties need to know about this class or interface. Next, we will implement the abstraction in each of our platform-specific projects. Here we define it for iOS, but we would also want an implementation in the Android and Windows Phone projects. Notice that it does not need to be public. External users won't know about the class directly. They will only reference it by the abstraction. Next, in each of the platform-specific projects, we let the dependency service know about our implementation using the dependency attribute. This is declared at the assembly level, as you can see here, and identifies the implementation which is then registered with the dependency service. In Xamarin.Forms 1.3, you can also use a new register method to add specific instances or types to the dependency service in code versus declaratively with an attribute. This allows you to make runtime decisions about the implementation of the service or to instantiate a service implementation with a parameterized constructor. Finally, anywhere in your app, you can request the abstraction from the dependency service. It will return the first registered class that implements the specific interface or derives from the specified base class. If no class is found, null is returned. This means you can implement a service for one platform, but leave it off for another if it's not possible to implement it or it's optional.